Well, our CBN News medical reporter, Lorie Johnson, is with us. And Lorie, I've got to ask, what's the difference between a full approval by the FDA and an emergency approval?
An emergency use authorization is usually done in an emergency situation, which is what COVID-19 is. It's a pandemic. And then the full approval is much more, the FDA takes much more time. It scrutinizes the vaccine or whatever medical product they're looking at much more carefully. For example, they will go to the manufacturing facility and inspect how it's manufactured. And they look at it very closely to see what the expiration date, things like that. So that's the main difference between an emergency use authorization and the full authorization.
Are the same trials used in both approvals? And if so, is it the company sponsoring the vaccine that's responsible for the trials?
The trials for the, it's usually the FDA that is responsible for doing the follow-up and they work hand in hand with the companies when they go through the full authorization process and procedure.
All right. Do you think parents are going to push back on the basis that this is just an emergency approval and the FDA hasn't fully vetted it?
Well, a recent Kaiser Family Foundation survey that was released on September 30th showed 1/3 of parents of children ages 5 to 11 say that they will definitely get the vaccine as soon as possible. Another third said they'd like to wait and see, and 1/4 of those parents said they definitely do not want their children to be vaccinated.
All right, well, let me put you on the spot. What would be your recommendation, given its emergency approval? Would you be okay with children 5 years old getting the vaccine?
Well, I would definitely talk to my pediatrician. My children are grown now, but when they were growing up, I tried to consult my pediatrician as often as possible when it came to health issues, health mandates, and all things related to my children's health. And that is the recommendation for parents right now. Talk to your pediatrician about what's best for your child.
Okay, let's talk about the Merck pill. There's now a pill vaccine preventative. What can you tell us about these pills?
Well, Merck has applied for emergency use authorization for their antiviral pill. So what that is, it's pretty much just like what Tamiflu is to the flu. Many people have been prescribed Tamiflu, and basically it's an antiviral pill that stops the replication of the virus very soon. So you need to start taking it within a day or 2 or 3 after symptoms appear. But it's very popular, Tamiflu is, and so Merck has applied for this. They say that in their phase 3 clinical trials that it reduced the risk of hospitalization by 50%. And interestingly, Gordon, Roche and also Pfizer have an antiviral pill that they're in the very final stages of clinical trials. And it looks like they likely will also apply for emergency use authorization. So it could be that we also have choices with our antiviral pills, just like we do vaccines in the near future. Right now, there's a wonderful drug for treatment of COVID-19 that's already been approved by the FDA. It's called Regeneron. We've talked about it before on the 700 Club. It reduces the risk of hospitalization by 70%, and the government pays for it, so it's basically free. The only downside is it's an infusion, which a lot of people don't like the needles, but it's very effective.
All right, well, back to the pill. Just like Tamiflu, do you have to take it within the first 24 hours of infection?
That is, the sooner you take it to the onset of symptoms, the better. So some doctors say, yes, definitely 24 hours is ideal, maybe 48 hours, even 72 hours. But you want to try to get it before the virus starts to replicate, extensively within your body. And so remember, Tamiflu's only been on the market for about 10 years. Before that, when you had the flu, it was basically, you treat the symptoms and you just had to let it run its course. And Tamiflu came on the market, and it's really a wonderful drug, and so hopefully these antivirals will be as successful for COVID as Tamiflu is to the flu.
Well, I've never been able to get within the window. I'm really stubborn about going to doctors, and so I've never hit the cutoff. They've always told me you're too late, and you're just going to have to suffer with it.
That's right, and so that's a great point. So as soon as you get those symptoms, go see your doctor. And right now, you may be able to get Regeneron, and perhaps in the future, those antiviral pills.
All right. Well, Lorie, always thank you for your insights and for the report.